Welcome back to A Celtic State of Mind. I'm Paul John Dykes, and tonight I'm delighted to be joined by Tommy Sheridan, where we'll be speaking to Ken McCluskey. Ken McCluskey, welcome to Barra's Art and Design. This is your second appearance on A Celtic State of Mind.
It is. Well, last one wasn't an appearance, it was just my vocal talking away on a wee radio podcast, I think it was, with Declan.
Young Declan, yes.
Young Declan,
well known.
Mind.
He's well known. The thing back then, of course, Ken, we were in the depth of a lockdown, weren't we?
Oh, that's right. So we were, yeah. And I think I had the cold as well, because I remember I listened to a wee bit yesterday. Went just a cafe, pal.
I want to talk about these records, Tommy, because, you know, as technology advances and everything becomes really clean and well done, I love the kind of look of this type of thing. And I have never seen this record before, Ken. Talk us through this one.
This record here, my good friend Chris Carroll gave me this, just because the man's name's John McCluskey. He's the father of Pat McCluskey. I think he's from Kilsyth. And I had a wee listen to this morning. It's 1911, which is round about 99p UP. And I reckon it's about 1970, just by the way, you can tell by the gear and the quality and all that. So it's about 1970. I had a good wee listen to it this morning before taking it out. And it's great. It's great fun. No relation. I'm Ken McCluskey, this is John McCluskey. Maybe related. But it's a good wee mine in town. We're all from miners, mining stock, same as yourself.
Yeah.
And so this is a great record.
I'm dead interested to see what songs are on it, Ken. What songs are on it?
Songs are on it.
Let me see.
Football Crazy. Now it says Football Crazy.
The Green and White Brigade, the Flood.
After
the
each
team we use.
track, it says...
There's a wee song on this that leads you a great link.
Absolutely, yes.
I don't know where you want the link to know, but there's a great link there.
Wee Jinky.
Oh, Wee Jinky, yeah.
You know what I love about this record, Ken? I love the design of it. Proper old school,
right,
retro. I love that. But when I was writing the Quality Street Gang, I spoke to Pat, who wasn't really part of that team. He came a wee bit after it.
Yeah.
And someone mentioned that his old man was an entertainer and a singer and all this. And I had seen or heard nothing since.
Right.
And then you
There
bring
you go.
this in.
Yeah.
And there it is, confirmed.
Well, my pal gave me it just for fun, and I had a wee listen. It's great, actually. It's very of its time, but it's great. He's a good singer, good tenor voice, yeah.
I love that. Imagine a Celtic player now whose old man had a Celtic record out, Tommy.
It'd be hard, wouldn't it? It's funny when you were talking about the last interview you did with Declan. It was interesting that when he was asking you about the team under Neil Lennon at the time, and obviously it must have been the first part of COVID, because we went on to win the league and get the 9. We never quite got the 10, unfortunately. But it was interesting hearing you talk about your favourite players in the team at the time, because you mentioned in Cham, you talked about him, which was great. You mentioned Julian, but you also mentioned McGregor, and it just shows you how he's developed as a player.
Amazing,
Fantastic.
yeah. I suppose he'd be a younger guy then, yeah.
So that was about 4 years ago.
And he's still in the middle of the team, yeah.
We were looking today, Tommy, about Brendan Rodgers now compared to first time round. And McGregor is that constant. Him and James Forrest are still here. And you forget sometimes how young he is, still 31, because he's been around for so long. But I love this record. It does move us on to two different things. There's a song on it called Wee Jinky. We'll come back to that. But this is something of a cult record, Ken, and you were involved in this one.
Yes. This is the Centenary album by the Willie Malloy Experience. Now, the Willie Malloy is a kind of punk rock Celtic supporters club, which was started by a man called Arthur Haggerty, great Arthur Haggerty. We all met Arthur he worked in Bruce's record shop. And record shops in the late 70s, early 80s were kind of hubs of people meeting, like you'd meet people from North Glasgow, South Glasgow, East Glasgow, West. And we're from outside Glasgow, from Lanarkshire. I'm from Bothwell near Hamilton. So these were hubs of where you would meet people. And it was mostly to do with music at the time, but all of a sudden you start going to, you're a punk rocker and you've got all your records, and you start seeing people at Celtic games. And you're like, oh, you're a punk rock Celtic supporter as well, and you're this. And then you start making a wee sort of hub of friends from all. So these guys are from the Toker Clydebank. And when it was building up to the centenary, Arthur had the great idea of making an album of his favourite Celtic songs and adding a couple of new bits and bobs. There was a very innovative, it was 1988, so there was a a house record on it, the first football house record ever made, which is It Had to Be Celtic, which was written with by Kenny Hislop, who was in Slick and the Zones and all these bands, and John Pender, Andy Byrne, all these guys. So we had the first house record, the Celtic. We did the more traditional stuff. So it was myself, my brother, Bobsy Mullen, James King from the Lone Wolves. So we did the sort of more traditional folky stuff, but we had this fantastic record which is called It Had to Be Celtic, which is brilliant actually. And they use all samples from the commentary from the European Cup one. So it's been It Had to Be Celtic, you know. So that was great. Very proud of this. And this was a big seller at the time. Used to sell them outside the park. It was very unofficial. It wasn't the Celtic shop. I don't think they let it in the Celtic shop. You have to go through a sort of you have to
hierarchy.
You have to do the hierarchy.
Yeah.
So there's no sweary words on it or anything like that. But I particularly like this picture. This picture was taken the day before. This is the day before the European Cup final. So that's a training strip with the green shorts, the green socks.
What I love about that strip is the fact that it's V-neck.
Yes.
So they never ever wore it in a game, Tom.
That's right, yeah.
So you wonder where they all went.
That's superb. But Arthur did a lot of research. He got a lot of the photographs from a man called Pat Woods, who's a great Celtic historian. So he really did his homework on it. We did it in 24 hours. We did it for a couple of cans of lager and a pizza. But it's full with loads. It's
A labour of love, Ken.
Yes, it was a labour of love. But it was a great laugh. When we were doing it, there was a Willie Malloy choir. There's about 30 people in it. They had a bus called the Willie Malloy Duntoker Sports Bus. But there was somebody singing out a tune, and my job was to get the choir to sing in tune. Oh, it's Celtic, Celtic, that's a teafer. And one of the songs is Over and Over. And I was going up down this line, and somebody's thinking really, really flat, right? So what I'm doing now, I've got to be a pure rotter, you know, I've got to be a pure bastard. I'm like, somebody's getting it here. I'm like, come on, guys, sing up over. And it's on over and over. And I said, sorry, mate. He went, that's just because I'm a Hun.
And what's he on?
Oh, wait, shouldn't have been in the choir. One of their pals just sneaked in. He didn't really care, you know what I mean? They were just all guys in the toker. They were a good laugh.
Yeah, I'm a jet.
Didn't he care, man? He didn't really care. It was none of that. It was brilliant. It was brilliant. But he was only a Rangers supporter, and he sneaked in because he was enjoying the cans of beer, and he was everybody's pal. I didn't know he was a Rangers. I had no idea he was a Rangers supporter. But he was kind of singing a wee bit in these boots like that, yeah.
Just couldn't sing.
But we used to play that the over and over at Parkhead all the time. And we added the bit, so it used to be over and over. We went over and over. So we added it. So whenever you hear over and over, that's me.
You know, it's this, and this has become quite sought after, this record.
Yeah.
I remember a few people who might have been involved in it were selling copies, and they were going for decent money as well. But this is a great start to this chat, because we're starting off with music, and invariably we'll move into your own musical career beyond writing Celtic songs. That wasn't the last time you were involved in a Celtic musical project, though, Ken.
No, I've done a few. Used to just sit in. My pal had a wee mini studio in the house, Brian Docherty, and when they signed Decanio, we were thinking, Decanio, man, it'd be great to get a song for Decanio, wouldn't it? So we came up with the idea of D-I-Canio, D-I-Canio, which was a very low budget production. And then that came out, sold a few thousand CDs. And he is D Dangerous. He is Italiano. Yeah. He is C Glasgow Celtic. Oh, you know. That was all right. That was a good laugh. But it was most for fun. Also done this record in the 125th anniversary of Celtic. We updated this, made it digitally available. And it's on Spotify and all these things now. We added 4 other tracks. We added a reggae version of The Fields of Athenry.
I can't wait.
Which is brilliant. By lonely prison wall. It's great. It's great. It works great. It works great in a reggae track. We also did a song called 6-2, which was written after the 6-2 game. Now, I wasn't at the 6-2 game. I was working down Glasgow Green. There was a big festival. And but I took a break, and I knew all my pals were going to Babbity Bousters in the town. And I was so excited about this 6-2, man, 6-2. Everybody was going bonkers, you know. So I had a pen and paper like yourself over there, and I'm like, right, what happened? What happened? Right, Sutton after 15 set, 20 set, right, okay, what happened then? Oh, Larson went through, Conterman's legs and blah, blah, blah. Right, here we go. There's a great line there and Larson. Oh, tell me, Mr. Conterman, when you opened up your legs. And Larson slipped the ball right through and chipped it in the net. First line, boom, 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 boom. So I can't, what else happened? 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 So all of a sudden we had a song called 6-2. We tried again. We tried to put this through official Celtic territory, but in the shop to try and get it in the shop and all that. But we're going to make CDs at the time to add to this and the Celtic, the Fields of Athenry reggae, and a couple of other tracks. And they said, no, you can't, because it says the chorus says, for the wearing of the blue, for the wearing of the blue, you come here with your arrogance, and you go pump 6-2. You can't have pumped in a song. So, because
we
can't have pumped.
Ken, I'm sorry.
That was it. That was it. Calm down. It was worse than
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I need to hear that again. I need to hear that again. Please, do you mind?
Oh,
I can't sing it because I'm getting.
it's to the tune of the wearing of the green.
Right.
So it's for the wearing of the blue, for the wearing of the blue. You come here with your arrogance, and you go home pump 6-2. Boy. Tell me, Mr. Contan, when you opened up your legs. And Larson stuck the ball right through and he chipped it in the net. It was all on the half-time. We were leading 4-1. It was Sutton, Hearts and Larson, and we're on the run. Oi, we're in off the blue. So it was like that. But it was fun. All of these songs are now available on Spotify, by the way. So if you want to hear Reggae Fields of Athenry, 6-2, any of these songs, they're all added to these songs, remastered, and on Spotify, and it's under the album's called the Willie Malloy Experience 125. So it was the 125th anniversary.
I can't wait to hear the rest.
I'm going to. I'll be tuning in.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, it brings back. I'm sorry, Paul John, to cut in to your routine here, but it does remind me of the bit of the debate that we had a few podcasts ago about who wrote the Coronation Cup song.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you noticed, but there was a bit of argument on the podcast, and there was people saying, no, you said it was such and such, but it wasn't. It was such as, and there was this big argument.
Yeah.
But I've just sat here, Ken, listening to you making up the song about the 6-2, and somebody's done that about the Coronation Cup.
Yeah.
And somebody's just, so inventive. Do you know anything about it?
No, well, I'll come back to that in a minute, but this song 6-2, because there was Paddy Brady, Fergus Brady, his brother Kevin Brady, a couple of other mates, Mark Wilson, and I was saying, so what happened? So there was 6 of them there. So I shared the credit with everybody.
But I went,
So it's
lovely.
It's McCluskey, Brady, Wilson, Keane, whatever, So I just said, here's the information, I'll write the song. And we just recorded it straight away and boom. But everybody got a credit because it's their information that I'm getting. I'm just using the musical ability to put it into meter.
Fabulous. Well, I love.
Sorry, tell us something.
I love the
Coronation
story, the
what is the
Coronation Cup
Coronation?
song about the said Philip to Lizzie.
Oh yeah.
And the whole story about don't want else send up my Arsenal to lead them, and he. The finish of it. I mean, the way it finishes, I've known the answer for many a year. You need to deport the mad Fenians and give them support. I mean, it's political. Political, but it's such a narrative as well. It's a beautiful. I love songs with meaningful lyrics. And it's got meaningful lyrics.
A poet will have written that because it's well written. The meter's really good. That's not just somebody making that. That's somebody with a bit of skill.
Right.
A bit of skill that's written that.
I'm sure I heard the Canio song being played over the tannoy, Ken.
They played over the tannoy a wee bit. It sounded a wee bit weak over the tannoy because it wasn't mastered. You've got to master a record, you got to, the finishing fairy dust thing, you got to master it properly. We didn't really master it properly. It sounded a wee bit, D.I. Canio, where it should have been, D.I. Canio. Anyway, so it was a good laugh at the time, but I'm glad it's disappeared.
I love this expertise.
I know.
I love this expertise because you're so talented musically, but you're also very technically talented. You know all the techniques.
If you've worked over the years, and the studios have changed, just like all this gear, it's changed dramatically over the last 40 years. It was the same, since the 40s or whatever, right up to the early 70s. Then it started, it was all analog. And then all of a sudden we started getting digital elements in it, and it's digital. But a lot of people use both analog and digital now, you know what I mean? So you can use both,
Yeah.
the best of both worlds.
I think it's interesting that we can talk so in depth and so fully about this, and we've not even got to what probably is what people know you for, Ken. And we can't get to that yet because we've not spoken about Wee Jinky and the song Wee Jinky on that. It's interesting how these things all link in because we had Paul Quinn, one of 5 Paul Quinns that you know, in here a few weeks ago talking about a song that he wrote about Jimmy Johnson. I shared it with Tommy. I thought I'd shared it with you before, Tommy, but I shared it this morning. I love the song. And you sing the lead vocal on it.
Paul Quinn gave me a wee shout. It was over at the studio on the south side, and I think it was Willie Rocky's studio.
Godbo
Yeah, Godbo said. Correct studio, brilliant studio. So Paul was working there at the time, and he put this song together for charity, and he asked me if I wanted to sing on it. And I went, I'll give it a bash. So I went in and did it. But Jinky's married to my second cousin, you know that?
Right.
There's another wee link. Agnes, she's from Uddingston, View Park, from Bothwell. It's just all. So Jinky just lived up the road from us.
Right.
So it was close to March, so of course she'll do it, yeah.
Brilliant. Well, Paul wants to release that song, so the viewers will eventually hear it. I love it. I think it's
I thought it was brilliant.
Brilliant
I listened
lyrics.
to it this morning. Fantastic lyrics, inspirational.
Yeah.
Just like Wee Jinky was.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether you're going to give us a wee bit of it or no, but no.
Well, I got the chorus when, hold your head up high, Jinky Johnson. That's about, I remember.
A proper anthem, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's anthemic.
So Jimmy used to train over the park right across the road from our house in Bothwell. There's a wee park with Dean. And sometimes I think when he was maybe not at Parkhead training, he was running up down the park. There's a wee quiet park and there's bushes around it, so it's quite private. So we just watch him as wee boys. It was amazing. Just watch him running and doing all these little jinks and brilliant.
It's astonishing again to think about a modern player doing anything because they're wrapped in cotton wool. Tommy, anything outside of Celtic Park, training wise, etc. Hopefully that song will see the light of day, Ken.
I think so. There's no reason why not, because of digital, technology. Andy can make a record and stick it out. Now I'm all for the democratization of music, and the only problem with the democratization of music, everybody makes records, right? So your market's kind of fractionalized. You know what I mean? So loads of people put out Celtic records, which is brilliant. Andy could put out a Celtic record. Tommy, you could put out a Celtic record.
If I could sing.
You could narrate it.
You would do that middle section.
You can narrate, but that's brilliant. That's great. You can do it. But then the problem is who knows where it is? How do you find it on Spotify?
Yeah.
You need to swim through an awful lot of shite to find the good stuff,
No, you're spot on with that. I mean, you spoke about your link to Jinky. I was interested to hear that you went to a school that was populated with a lot of talented footballers as well.
Yes, I went to Holy Cross in Hamilton. Well, first of all, St John the Baptist Uddingston, and you'd have John McCluskey and George McCluskey. So George McCluskey was my brother's team. They won the Timmins Cup, which is the big local cup, and that was against a lot of great teams from Bells Hill and View Park. He beat St Columbus. They were amazing. I think we played Turnerside in the final at Brandon Park. That was my first big game ever. It was amazing. Your brothers running about with the cup and all that. And I remember they were all sick because they put iron brew in the cup, but there was Brasso in the cups.
Oh, no.
Oh, ill the next day. So there's a lot of great players in that team, but George was the centre forward, right? And then his younger brother was just a wee bit older than me, John. He was a fantastic player as well.
I heard he was a great player.
Superb, yeah, he got injured or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, so was it illness, I think?
So there's a lot of great players. There's a lot of great players. Johnny Doyle's from there, Robertson, John Robertson.
Right.
They're all from the same scheme. Yeah. But they're amazing. They're all wingers. They're all, you know what I mean? Well, George wasn't, but,
In tribute to
Jimmy,
you coming,
Jimmy's from the same
because
More or
you're
less the same.
Yeah.
because you're from Lanarkshire, I wore this specific T-shirt
He's from Wishaw, yeah.
because
Wishy.
the big man's got the campaign to have a statue erecting Craig Nuke
Yeah.
for Tommy. But then when I'm listening to your last interview, Ken, you're talking about Billy McNeil, Jimmy Johnston, you're talking about the McStay brothers, you're talking about that rich seam
Absolutely.
of talent
Yeah.
that is Lanarkshire.
Well, it's a huge conurbation. It's Lanarkshire. It's kind of greater Glasgow, innit? It's like we're 8 miles, but we're Bothwell, which Bothwell's seen as just, Bothwell was really posh and all that. when I lived from a big scheme when I was up until I was 15, and then my parents bought a boathouse. I was embarrassed actually because I was a punk rocker. I was like, you can't be a punk rocker if you live in your own house. You know, you got to live in a scheme. So I was like, oh no, don't buy us a brass neck. That don't buy a fucking don't buy a house up the posh bit. No. But I shouldn't go over that because when we moved there, they had a barn. It turned into a recording studio.
Wow.
And a rehearsal studio, so it was brilliant. So that's how I started bands and all that. So I was like, I've got to do a barn. Punk rock, music. All of a sudden you've got a studio. So that's how we could rehearse. We put mattresses up all around it and all that, egg boxes and all that, soundproofed it. Started playing away. Got a couple of other guys from the local other school, Uddy's Grammar. Dixie Deans was one of them, good football name. And Donald Kerr, and we started a band that we called Raw Deal.
Yeah.
That was our punk band, and we played all over the place, Marsh Bar and all that.
So, in terms of singing,
Uh-huh.
I mean, I've always wondered about this. When do you discover? Because you go to chapel and you sing hymns and you know if you can hold a tune or not on them. So I knew from a young age I could never be a singer. When did you realise?
I used to harmonise with the hymns, actually.
Right.
My parents were right into folk music, into Bob Dylan and all that. They were into the Dubliners, they were into Planksty, Christy Moore's first band. Tommy Makem and all that as well. So they used to have parties quite a lot in a wee house in Appledore Crescent in Bothwell, and they'd invite the neighbours in, and then if they had to sing or tell a joke or something like that, right, well, it's your turn now. Tommy, on you go. So if you can't sing, you're telling a joke.
No, but at the
You're
end part,
telling a story.
because my mum and I used to have the same.
story.
My mum in particular used to have the same parties, Ken,
Yeah.
and there is no if you can't sing because everybody sang this.
Aye.
They didn't know they couldn't. Like,
So if you can't sing, you sing, I was born unto that ward. Something like that. Yeah. So, or the guys from East Kilbride or Frank Sinatra or something like that, So we were encouraged, there's 5 of us, so Dave and I are the youngest of 5. We were encouraged to, if you could sing a song, you could stay up for an extra hour, right? Which is a wee bit of bravery, but we were like, fucking magic. We were practicing, so my older brothers and sisters, they were sent to music lessons, but didn't really fancy it. And so they'd be like that, I'm not singing. So there's a door open like this, and everybody's here, the audience is here, they're like that, stairs like this, the 3 of them, the older ones are like that. And we were like, no. Whiskey in the Jar, we used to sing, I was going over in 1971. Thin Lizzy, but we knew it before through the Dubliners.
Yeah.
Whiskey in the Jar. So we did a reverse of that. And then people would give you 2 bob or a wee sip of their beer or something like that, And so that was it.
what age were you then?
Paid for us 10. 9. No, I was 9. In 1971, I was 9.
10. I mean,
So if I was 9, David was 7.
brilliant.
So we'd have our pajamas on. And I'd be like, oh, hey, look at the cute wee boys. And they're like, fucking hello there.
When's your head is stay up?
Go get the hat out. No bother. And your brothers and sisters, you wee shites. But they had done it before.
Yeah.
They had done it before. They had been the entertainers when we were too young.
Right.
And then they got too old. When you get to 14, 15, you're like, that's a brass neck. But no. So they stopped. But they get into music again when they got older. But it's just that awkward age when we didn't care. Buggers, we little look at me, mommy and dancing. It's like the Von Trapp family, a wee bit, but they got to that age they didn't want to do it. So we took over their mantle.
Right.
And the rest is history. So I had a confidence in singing. There's a lot of great singers in my class at school. And again, it's that thing at View Park, Birkinshaw. There's a girl called Margaret Doyle. Her brother's Pat Doyle, who's the big musician who does all the music for films. He's a big classical musician. Does music for, God, I think, you hear of him, he's dead famous. Kalito's Way. Kalito's Way, he's done all that. He's done all that music for that. So he's a big classical musician. Their family were all great singers, the 13 of them. And Margaret was in my class, and she won, remember that programme, You're a Star, Superstar, Shiny Suit and a New Guitar. She won that. And see, 2 years later, our next door neighbour won it. Brenda Cochrane, so you'll see her selling the concert hall. Brenda does Frank Sinatra or Brenda does Las Vegas or something. So there's a lot of talent, but that was all from miners' welfares. The miners' welfare sort of idea of you have a Saturday night, there's no bands, you entertain yourself. There's a lot of great musicians, a lot of great, especially singers. So And we were all in school choir. And singing hymns, I think singing hymns probably helped us as well.
Great
And doing
education.
harmonies and all that, doing
Yeah.
harmonies, learning harmonies. And so it was quite natural for us to sing harmonies, and it still is now. So a lot of people can't do harmonies that readily, but we can because, I mean, we're not musically taught like dots and, you know, classically trained or whatever. It's just all ear, you know.
But when you go, so you're around about 9, you get to school, you're saying you're singing in choirs. Did you do music at school? I mean, was that
No, we
so-
didn't get any music. Music, when we got to the secondary school, so primary school would get the choirs. Secondary school, there was I remember going into music and I thought, this is magic, maybe learn a wee bit of music and all that, learn how to be a musician or whatever. You know? And all there was a very old man called Mr. Melvin, who was a bit of a boffin. The old trousers, the belt was up here, you know, and egghead and all that. And he had a piano in one corner, which you were never allowed to touch, and a big picture of a dissection of a saxophone. So our
But you're
music,
going to say Elvis or something.
no, the Beatles, no, the dissection of a saxophone halved. This is the mouthpiece of the pointer, this is the mouth, what is it? And these are the keys, and this is the horn or the mouth and all that, you know. So never really got any music lists at all. However, there's a guy called David Belcher who's a writer for the Herald, and he was doing a series of getting people that maybe played music or been writers or whatever, or actors or whatever, and taking them back to their old school 20 years later. So I went back to the Holy Cross 20 years later. They got recording studios and guitars all over the wall and pianos, and everybody's got a keyboard.
Yeah.
So it's completely different now. Just at that time, so I went to secondary school 73, but it was a picture of a saxophone, I'm afraid. So we never, the only thing I really got from school was maybe the camaraderie of being in a choir and the art of learning harmony. But that was from our primary school, we learned that.
Yeah. And you're talking there also about setting up a band. I'm always intrigued, Tommy, about young people with their mates doing something like that. You know, coming together, having a space, singing songs, writing songs, maybe getting gigs, recording demos, and raw deal. And through that band, eventually you were to meet Bobby, weren't you?
Yeah.
He was running a fanzine, is that right?
We got together because we were going to the Catholic school that way. These guys are going to the non-denominational school that way, Uddingston Grammar. And I see them, one's got a guitar case and one's got a funny case. I don't know what kind of case it is. And my brother David could play the drums a wee bit by this point, because our older brother Philip was a roadie in a heavy metal band called Leo, who had played the County Inn and Wish and all that. So they gave him his wee drum kit, and I knew I could sing. I did, because I was in a choir and I did some solo stuff and all that. And not overconfident, you know, just I knew I could sing in tune, basically. But I was punk rock, so you didn't really have to sing in tune, you know, that much. So I saw these boys that are a year younger than me, and one of them had a Clash badge, and that was the thing. I'm like, oh, the Clash, is it? Oh, but I've got a Clash badge. So all of a sudden, any divide that there was is over, because we like the same music. So music is a great thing for bringing people together from all sort of different backgrounds. Not saying that I would never talk to them or whatever, they were just from a different area, Bodwell or whatever. Lots of our pals went to Uddingston Grammar. But because we had the badge and the clock, and of course, you've just acquired a hayloft, with, you know, a barn basically. You're like, look, guys, have you got an amp? Like, aye, well, we'll buy it. We saved up our paper money, bought amps, and put it all together in this wee studio. So we had a place to rehearse. It was fantastic. And then we started there was great radio stations at the time, you know, radio programs. So Radio Clyde, they would have Brian Ford's Street Sounds. It was only for punk rock and the new wave. And then you'd have John Peel and all that. So you could write in there and they'd read out your, you know, rodeo looking for a, you know, trumpet player or something like that. They'd read it out. You know, all of a sudden you're on the radio. Here's a new demo by Rodeo. You'd never get that now. You know, they'd never get that now. In high capitalism, you're not allowed in the radio. See, when we were kids, man, you could go on the radio like that, just phone up and go, hiya, Dr. Dick, or a 12-inch, here's the answer, you know, to your question or whatever. You just be on it, you know, if you had the brass night to do it.
Yeah.
You know, nowadays, it's really, really hard for young people to get, there's loads of bands and people say, oh, music's not as good as it used to be. It's better than it used to be. There's just much more of it. Loads of fantastic musicians and bands and writers and experimental musicians. and actors and everyone, artists and everyone in this area. But it's kind of harder because the market's fragmented so much. There used to be three telly stations instead of thousands, millions of television stations. Your market's fragmented. Top of the Pops is too expensive to make now. Do you know what I mean? Big Brother's cheap to make.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So Top of the Pops, when we were later on in the Bluebells, we were on Cheggers Plays Pop. Tiz was, Saturday Superstore. You run around with Mick Reed. Hunters, that's on the same week. Top of the Pops, the Old Grey Whistle Test.
Yeah.
There's none of that now.
Were you the first unsigned band on the Old Grey Whistle?
We were the first unsigned band on the Old Grey Whistle Test, yeah. Which is, at the time, we didn't really know. We went to the Old Grey Whistle.
Sorry, before you get to that, but
sorry, I jumped about.
No, what I wanted to ask you was your embrace of punk music.
Yeah.
Was that a political embrace?
Yes.
Because
yes,
your musical influences up to then don't seem,
folk music's rebel music.
Right. And you think punk music
Other
was
music,
a modern...
I loved reggae music. Reggae music's rebel music. Punk music's rebel music. So these are all rebel music. So we're always against the kind of anti-establishment sort of thing. So 15, 16, we knew that Ravenscraig was shutting down. So Ravenscraig was the biggest employer in our area and all the associated, fabrication yards and all that. We knew that was happening. We knew that. So our dad would say, my dad's a brickety trade. And he became a bit of a businessman later on, building houses and all that. But he said, I don't know what we're going to do, where do you apply? The only place you could apply to for a job was Centre 1, which is the tax office in East Kilbride. And he's like, you're not going there, son. Because I went to the youth, the person that comes to, what do you call them, the officer that comes to interview you for careers advice. And he said, oh, the subjects you're taking, Centre 1 would be good. So I went back and told my dad, I said, Centre 1. He's like, fuck that. He says, stick to your band, mate. Stick to your band.
That's brilliant.
You don't need to do that.
Yeah.
So that was a great thing that he said. Mm-hmm. Because otherwise I'd been Centre 1. You know what I mean? He knew we weren't for Centre 1. There's enough, loads of people can be in Centre 1, that's fine. You need to bring home the bacon. We didn't have to bring home the bacon, really. We weren't married, we didn't have any expenses, really. We had paper jobs. After that, we had jobs in pubs, we had jobs. We always worked, and we were quite independent, but we didn't have a roof to pay for or, any huge expenses. So he says, just stick to your music. So that was a great thing to be told. Some of the other boys, were under pressure from their families to get a job.
Yeah.
But we never had that pressure, which is thanks, Dad.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
And support your creativity and your art.
Yeah. Well, part of his job was, what he used to do to make some pin money was he built feature fireplaces, like he's a brickie, So in council houses, in the 70s, you have these feature fireplaces and you get a built-in for a fish tank and all that, and the brass hood and all that.
Oh, I had one of them.
The brass hood and a bit for your books, a couple of books before they were then changed to videos, and a bit for your telly to fit and all that. Mm-hmm. So I used to mix his cement. My brother did it. Philip did it first. Then it was me, and then I was getting really good at it and mixing his cement. He's like, that's brilliant, that cement. That's a great mix. Squeezy liquid in it and all that. Good bonding agent. He's like, don't get too good at this. He didn't want me with a brickie's labourer.
Right.
You know what I mean? He didn't.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, no, stop me. I'll get our David to do it next time because you've learnt it. You know how to do it now right away and write a song or something like that.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's what I'm now thinking of the feature fireplace we had.
Stayed on.
Did you say the
They were fish tank.
for the VCR and all that? Brilliant. Absolutely tremendous.
A wee fur rug in the front. All that.
Aye.
Lie in front, yeah.
So you've got this inspiration vis-a-vis the punk being rebellious.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you develop the confidence to write? Because you've talked about the confidence to sing, but surely the confidence to write something is a wee bit more.
It's a big jump by. Round about the same time, leaving, last couple of years of school and then leaving school, my dad teamed up with a guy called Dominic Behan, who was the brother of Brendan Behan, the writer.
Yeah.
Dominic is a writer in his own right, more a poet, really. And he'd written some great songs like McAlpine's Fusiliers, The Patriot Game, Crooked Jack, loads of brilliant songs. He'd written a huge hit for The Scaffold. Oh, Liverpool, lovely Liverpool, number 2 in the charts, 1968. And that was for, the scaffold was Paul McCartney's brother, you know, Mike McGee and all that.
Right.
Yeah. So he had a big hit with that. His own TV programme called Poetry and Pints. And then all of a sudden this guy walks into your house one day. Hello, I've moved into the area. Irish guy at Dublin. So he became a Dad's big pal, and he really encouraged us to write.
That's incredible.
You should be writing your own songs. Because we were doing Clash covers and all that. You should be doing, so that was a good question actually. So that encouraged us to write our own songs. And we'd cover some of his songs as well. In a punk rock style.
Right, right.
And so that was good. And then through him, we'd go to loads of folk clubs as well. You could just go up and sing your songs, which again is a good outlet. It wasn't just in the normal wee punk rock pubs like the Marsh Bar and all that. It was getting into an older folk audience, and they'd appreciate it as well. So we'd be doing Woody Guthrie stuff and all that, which again is kind of rebel music, you know. So we'd be doing all these things, and that encouraged us to write our own songs. Yeah.
Did he ever give you feedback directly?
Well,
or
we
indirectly?
wrote 3 or 4 songs with him, which he was very pleased with. On the first Bluebells album, we wrote South Atlantic Way, which is about the futility of the young men going to the South Atlantic, the Falklands War. We'd covered the Patriot game. We did an album. First album was the McCluskey Brothers. We wrote 3 songs with them, Set the People Free, a few others. On Your Bike, which was about your man Norman Tebbit, get on your bike and get a job. And we were like, fuck off. No, because we've got this music, we're not getting on our bike, you know. And there's day jobs anyway. So
I love this link, Tommy, from your question.
I know, but I hate to jump at we're having light-hearted stuff, but there is a wee bit of a serious tinge to the Patriot game.
Oh, of course.
Because there is controversy over the song. For you guys, by the way, Ken, absolutely brilliant that you're willing to put it on your album at the time that you put it on your album. I thought that was so brave, courageous, because everybody, controversy, avoid controversy.
Well,
you guys embrace controversy.
We also said to Dominic, look, we're young guys, man. This is like 1984, but then this album came out. So we said, look, the last couple of verses, there's loads of verses in the Patriot game, right? There's about 7 or 8. So we said, look, I'm not very comfortable with singing Toby O'Connelly was shot in his chair of all bloody and beer and all that. Could you not make it, update it for young people, patriots of any situation?
Yeah.
Could be this situation is talking about the IRA, some young man running away with the IRA, getting shot, and then going, you bastard, man. Look, I never signed up for this. Now that could be put in any context. It could be a Bosnian Serb. It could be somebody in the, any of these splinter organs. It could be a boy in the British Army who's fought up. And we know plenty of boys in the British Army, joined the British Army from our school who couldn't get jobs, and they came back and they're shattered. They're shattered in their mind.
Yeah.
They're shattered, and you never signed up for that. You know what I mean? So there's no glory in it. There's no glory in it. So what we were trying to kind of subtly do is say, just think about it. Think about your patriotism. Think about the futility of the people who are working you behind your decks. We're the young people. They're the old people. Their life's over. Right? A lot of them are fighting for some cause that is illegitimate, is wrong. We're going forward. We want to speak to all different people. It's not just for one tribe. Okay? We're all the same people. Be it Catholic, Protestant, Jew, Muslim, Hindu, whatever. We're all the same. Nobody's better than anybody else. Okay? There's no people. Do you know what I mean? We're all people.
Yeah.
And we're all the same. And we're all punk rockers. Okay? So we were punk rockers. That was a great thing, that punk rock is a great leveller. So it stopped any shit about bigotry or whatever, with us. I mean, we weren't bigoted anyway. We were very open when we were kids. And we'd be brought up that way. We were never brought up as bigots in any way.
When you were talking about your folk upbringing, I'm thinking to myself, that's the reason that you chose to sing the Patriot game. Then you tell us about your association with the guy who wrote it.
Left in our house.
Behan, incredible.
The first time Dave and I were going to school, we were still going to school. Holy Cross. Well, Mum, there's a man lying on the couch.
And it was Dominic.
It was Dominic.
It's amazing.
And then we really got to love him. He was lovely. He was really nice. He's mad as a brush. But great writer.
But Dominic's original writing of that song, would you because a lot of people say that he was openly that it was a rebel song.
Yeah, well, it was, but it was always saying at the end of it, "But bodies all holes." I think of the old men who bargained and sold. So the bargained and sold. So you've got a split in the IRA, you've got a split in the Republican movement.
Yes.
You know, you've got a split. You've got the ones, the Free Staters, and the ones who want to continue the fight to get a united Ireland. And you get some that do a deal and the 6 counties becomes the 6 counties. Yeah. So there's always been, you say this, you say that, you say that, blah, 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 blah. So there's always been controversies over it. It's a brilliant song. It's very open. What we've got to watch is, but when we sing it, we've not sang it for a long time live, but if we do sing it, somebody's going to shout, "Barely 2 years since I would." I don't want that.
Yep.
I don't want that. You know,
The message is lost.
I'm in
then,
a
isn't
pop band, man. I'm a pop band with a social conscience. My pals are from everywhere. Pals are from all different backgrounds. I find it embarrassing if somebody does that, so that's why we have to watch. It's the same as Christy Moore. David and I supported, as McCluskey Brothers supported Christy Moore a couple of times. And Christy Moore's brilliant. Christy Moore's our hero. In fact, one of the proudest moments, I've probably seen the proudest moment ever in music was Mark Mackey from Regular Music promotes Christy Moore. So he gave us a full front row at the concert hall. It's my dad and all his mates. And they all love Christy Moore. They're all like, "Oh my God, Christy Moore." They're loving it. And I'm like, that's it. That's better on Top of the Pops or the Open Whistle Test or whatever. You know, they absolutely loved that. But occasionally a Christy Moore, you know, gig, fantastic player, man, just acoustic guitar, playing away and somebody's like, "Oh, yeah, well, you just wasted that."
Yep.
You just wasted that. Can you not just let people listen to and make up their own mind? You know what I mean? So you get that. You've got to watch that mob mentality.
Philosophically, but Ken, philosophically, I find myself now with the current situation in Palestine that some of what you've talked about, that instinct for peace, the instinct for human solidarity.
Absolutely.
What angers me is I feel as though I've lost it because I'm filled with rage and anger. I want somebody to stand up to Israel. I want somebody to
you have
stop
to.
Israel. Right?
You have to.
And people say, "But Tommy, innocent people will be killed." And I say, yeah, I know. But see, if we don't do something, more and more innocent people will get killed. And all we've got to know is words. Now they've moved to Lebanon and they're killing children in Lebanon.
Yeah.
Who's going to stand up to them, Ken?
No. Certainly not our politicians. Our politicians are, you know, they're wiping their hands like Judas. You know what I mean? It's just like, "Oh, why can't I see any genocide?" Well, you're obviously not reading the same news as I am. There's genocide's going on. That's disgusting. And it's been used as a bargaining tool. You know, I mean, they're all shouting out. Starmer's shouting out Donald Trump. Donald Trump's, you know, there's a big list of people shouting, "Oh, Donald Trump."
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Decisions.
Get a backbone.
Yep.
Get a backbone, man. You know what I mean?
The only people.
Meanwhile, these people are being killed.
Yeah.
Women and children.
By the thousands, yeah.
Gassed, bombed, everything, you know.
Musicians are calling it out. And football fans are calling it out. So it gets right back to that community aspect of the working classes. I mean, I love the fact that people like Roger Waters, Paul Weller, Bobby Gillespie, they're continually calling it out. And football fans who get a hard time for calling it out have been doing it as well.
That's it.
How did you feel when you seen the tifo and it was the Patriot game tifo the other?
Oh, brilliant. I thought it was amazing. Well, that's it. When you're a wee boy, and you know, you could either be reading a book or listening to music or something like that, or listening to your dad or listening to whoever, you know, and you're like, wow, man, people do tell you stories. It's good to find out for yourself, and reading is probably one of the best ways of doing it instead of take somebody's opinion. And you know, that was beautiful. It's a beautiful, fantastic tifo, and it meant a lot. And I was really because I was that wee boy.
Yeah,
I was that wee boy. You know, I'll tell you about being a wee boy. This is funny. Actually, we're talking about differences in backgrounds and all that, and the working class should be together. Okay, obviously they're not. They're fragmented everywhere because there's gerrymandering and different political snipes and all this. A couple of years ago, when I was a wee boy, I used to go and see Hamilton sometimes with my dad, because that's the nearest. We go see Blantyre, Vikes, Blantyre, Celtic, Bellshill Athletic every week. Just walk up. They're everywhere. There's teams everywhere, right? The junior teams and blah, blah. Motherwell. So we took the car this time and we're burned back to Hamilton. And my dad says, "Oh, I think we'll go and see Uncle Gibby." I went, "Who's Uncle Gibby?" I mean, I've got loads of uncles now. It's Millie's. And never heard of Uncle Gibby. I'm like, "This is Gibber. Uncle Gibber, is it?" Right. So we went into this house, wee council house in Burnbank, quite Spartan. There's an old man, real old man, sitting with a cup of tea like that, quite fat, a big jolly face, big happy face, a Halloween cake, sort of. He's like, big picture of King Billy on the wall. I'm like, "Oh man, what? Uncle Gibby, aye, right." So I'm 10 or something, so I know the story, right? Because he always walks past our house all the time and all that. So we'd be very aware, you know, how annoying it can be. And I'm like, "Uncle Gibby, big picture of King Billy." I'm like, "What is that?" I said, "Uncle Gibby." So when I came out, I said, "Dad, how's that Uncle Gibby?" And Uncle Gibby was very nice to me. He got us a cup of tea, caramel waver and all that. I'm like, "Oh, he's a nice man." And he was a nice man. He was jolly. So I said, "How can that be your uncle?" He says, "Oh, we're done." So I went back and I said to him, "Well, how can that be Uncle Gibby? How's his uncle?" He says, "I see your dad's dad. Philip McCluskey, your grandpa, married a woman called Mary Gordon, right? And she was a Catholic. And but her twin was a Protestant." I'm like, "What?" She says, "There's 3 boys and 3 girls, right? So they were called Gordon, right? So Mr. Old Gordon was a Protestant for Kirkcudbrightshire, and he married an Irish woman, right? Or a woman from an Irish background, whatever. Or no, an Irish woman, actually. And the deal was the boys had brought up Protestant, the girls brought Catholic.
Right, right.
So therefore, the grace of God, I could read the Rangers podcast, you know what I mean? So that was a great leveler. And I think a lot of the people who are loudmouths shouting about, "Yeah, Orange this or yeah, Fenian this," they'll find that if you look back a wee bit, we're all a wee bit of a mixture of everything. And we've always have been over the years and years and years. And we're all the same people anyway, so what's the problem?
We're all
So that levels me. Yeah. That levels me. So if I hear somebody going, "Yeah, well, you know, I want the bus here," you know, if I go to a Celtic supporters bus and somebody's giving all that, I'm like, "Oh, that's not allowed, man." It's too much. It's too much. Because you don't know who's here. Loads of people in Celtic supporters bus aren't Catholic. They're not from an Irish background.
Yep.
You know what I mean? They're just guys that support Celtic. I've got loads of pals who are from a Protestant background who are Celtic supporters. And it's a cringe sitting next to them and you hear all that shit. You know what I mean? I don't like it at all.
No.
At all. Yeah.
See, I don't like it either, but there is an argument, Ken, that I feel is important to confront when people talk about equivalency. Rangers and Celtic, they've got the same number of BAMs, they've got the same number of shameful behaviours, etc., etc. And I had it out one time on a radio show with your man, who's the wrestler? Boy,
Grado.
And the guy that did the for Edinburgh, he's a
Did you have a
Ewan Cameron.
Ewan Cameron. So I was on the show with Grado. I wouldn't know. Sorry, no, he'd have beat me. He'd have beat me at that, but he never beat me in the debate. But Grado and Ewan were giving it big licks about how they're all the same. They're all the same. And Grado was a Rangers fan. He was happy to say they're all the same. And I reject that, Ken, because I don't think they're all the same. We have got, there's no doubt about that. There is a element of Celtic fans, like society as a whole, that will, I think, be unprogressive, backward, racist, misogynistic. No doubt about it. But you cannot hide from the background of Glasgow Rangers. They are a triumphalist, British, Protestant club that is full of chauvinism and arrogance. You talked about it earlier in the song. That is not as present within the Celtic support.
Yeah.
So in other words, yes, there may be some fans that can be embarrassing, but nowhere near the degree that you've got with Rangers fans. I think that core, I mean, I keep hearing Rangers fans, pals of mine, saying, "Oh, you know, I don't agree with up to our knees in Fenian blood." And I think to myself, well, that's funny, because when you go the TV there, you never hear Sky TV condemning. I heard Sky TV condemning Celtic fans for not respecting the armistice minute on Sunday. But nobody from Sky TV ever criticises being up to their knees in Fenian blood. And it's unequivalent.
Do you know, it's not funny, right? This is a serious debate, right? But it was, I did chuckle, right? So there was a big Rangers thing with you know, the big tifo, the soldiers and all that,
Yeah.
lest we forget, and the poppies and the poppy beats over and over and over, right? And the poppies are getting bigger every year. I just back from England. I was doing a gig in England. There were huge poppies everywhere. Big trucks and taxis that get big poppies everywhere. You never saw that. When I was a kid, it was just the scouts that laid a wreath at the local thing. You know what I mean? Nobody wore hardly anybody wore a poppy, right? But anyway, it's get bigger and bigger every year. But as soon as they all did the minute silence at Ibrox, the fans started singing, 3 cheers for the red, white and blue. 3 cheers for the red, white and blue. For the army and the navy and the UVF.
Exactly.
Yeah, like what?
Exactly. And
Come
nobody
on,
condemned
Ken.
that. Nobody
Come on,
condemned
man.
that. You
Come
know,
on,
it
come on.
just pisses me off, Ken, how how biased the reporting
Yeah.
is and the commentary on it. You know, so
Predictable as well.
But it's also that thing. I hate the idea of somebody telling you must wear a poppy.
exactly, Ken.
Fuck off.
This is the thing, Ken. Yeah, absolutely. And there's a few things I want to discuss because, you know, anyone who knows the Bluebells will know the incredible success of Young at Heart. But as we were in the car coming up here, I pointed out to you, obviously what I do is watch as much as I can online. And there was a 93 Christmas special, Top of the Pops, going back to that bastion of music in Britain. And there you are. You're in there because obviously it came back with the Volkswagen advert. And Tommy's wearing a Celtic tarp and tie.
Brilliant.
On Top of the Pops.
Oh, yeah.
It was subtle.
Very subtle.
Yeah.
But there was another one that keeps coming back on whatever, Facebook or something like that. And there was a magazine called The Record Mirror. The Record Mirror became a glossy magazine. I think it eventually became the Smash Hits or something like that. But there's a picture of the Bluebells. And we had to do this it was a football special. Right? It was becoming a bit of a teen mag as opposed to an older person's magazine. And they wanted us to dress up as 2 in Rangers strips, 2 in Celtic strips, and 1 with a goalie strip on, right? There's 5 of us. So at this point, there was that English guy. He didn't care. He just put me and David the Celtic strips on. We were like, yes. And me and Bobby Bluebell wear a Rangers strip. He gets pelters, man. But he keeps on coming up. It keeps on
I've
coming
seen it
up.
a few times.
But Robert's, the Robert's the same. You know, he's like, his dad's a Rangers supporter. He's from Govan, man. He's from Craigton and Govan. And his dad's a shipyard worker, Rangers supporter. But he married an Italian woman who's a Catholic. So he went to Catholic school. He went to Lourdes. Did you go to Lourdes?
Yes, yes.
He went to Lourdes. And so I think eventually his dad took him to Rangers a few times and he liked it, you know, he loved it. And I think when you go to secondary school, you're like, hey, can't really be a Rangers.
No words.
So he started following Celtic. So, but that's to me, he's open about that. And his dad was a cracking guy. His dad was a brilliant guy. Mr. Old Tommy, brilliant.
But online, Ken, of course, because he had that Rangers jersey on that.
Oh, that's forever.
that means he was a Rangers fan.
That's forever.
I've seen
That's
it.
forever.
Ah, it's
That's
terrible.
forever. He always told us. He said I was a Rangers fan until I went to Lourdes.
Fair play. Saw the light, Ken.
It's sort of like, but this is the thing. I mean, this is what I'm saying. There's loads of fans, loads of people who are not from an Irish or Catholic background, who are Celtic supporters. Especially a lot of the new guys that are coming in from different countries, Celtic supporters, and it, you know, why? Because it should be a family open to absolutely everybody, and there shouldn't be anything you have to be this to be in this gang. But there's some diehards that's still a wee bit purist, you know, a wee bit purist. I was doing this thing, this Celtic Story, a play, you know, the play Celtic Story. It came back last year.
Yeah.
It was on at the Armadillo. It was pretty successful. It was good fun. But part of it, I had to be a priest, right? I had to marry somebody. It wasn't acting, right? I had plate gear on, looking priest-like. Right? I had to marry somebody to do that, right? And it was at the end of the play. I went out to see my pals, right? And a man came up to me with about 6 veins or something like that, right? A right torn face, and he went, "You blasphemer!"
No.
Pompous bastard. Yeah. He said, "That's a disgrace, you blasphemer." And I'm like, "Oh, I bet she's a right priest sook, you know what I mean? I bet she's right up the priest, you know, like, anyway, pure shopper guy, you know." And I'm like, I was a wee bit shocked. I'd never been called a blasphemer before. You know what I mean? You get these guys that are totally extreme, and, you know, Celtic's open to everybody. You don't have to have a religion. You don't have to have.
That's the beauty of the club, being open to everybody. Another wee thing.
And we should remember that. We should remember that, and, you know.
Without a doubt. To be honest with you, I think you can get drawn into it, Ken. And Mick was a great leveler the other week. Tommy, where he was saying he's all about the working classes. So we're all being oppressed. So don't forget that. Now, the one thing I want to bring up as well as your nice wee subtle Celtic tartan tie.
That was very subtle. That. Did you notice that?
Oh, yes. Billy McNeil appeared on the cover of your debut LP.
Yes.
Was it your doing? Was that Bobby?
That was Bobby's actually a good designer. He's a good designer. So covers like this, the sisters, and it's like a map of the world, and it's all split up into little sections like that. And so we just put all like pictures of our family in it and all that, and things like Picasso because we like him. And Billy McNeil, it was a charity match, and it was cut out the Hotspur, you know, the Hotspur magazine. They had the wee football page in it, and it was a bit about Bobby Charlton's testimonial, and it was Billy McNeil shaking hands with Bobby Charlton. So there's right in the centre of the album, very subtle.
Billy McNeil on the cover of the album, Tom.
Yeah.
Yes, but
Love it.
Ken, you've missed somebody that was on the cover. Joseph.
Who?
Joseph.
Stalin. Jesus Christ. It's supposed to be Lennon. I think it was supposed to be Lennon. That was a mistake.
I thought.
We're going to say Kez.
Well, Kez was on it because that was I think it was their favourite film at the time. But I was fascinated about the idea of Stalin being there. Lenin, I could understand being there. Che Guevara.
I think we thought we were just the same at that time before we started reading books. We're scared of him.
Brilliant.
The other thing I loved about it was you mentioned Picasso. I'm going to have to tell the story, Tommy, because I've learned something today. That's the first time I've ever seen this record, and I know who Pat McCluskey is, and this is his dad, and that blows my mind that at the age of 46 you're still learning about Celtic. So Pablo Picasso's on the front cover of your debut album, Sisters, right? And there's a Celtic link to Pablo Picasso, Tommy, right?
Okay.
So back in the day, Celtic had a player called Seaton Early.
All right.
It's not a name you forget, right?
Yeah.
And he leaves and he signs for Cannes, right? So when he signs for Cannes, he lives next door to this eccentric artist called Pablo. And they like a bevy, the two of them go out and they have a drink. But Picasso loves his physique because he's a professional footballer.
Okay.
Sees him on the beach, thinks, right, I need to do some life drawing classes of this guy. So they become really friendly. And he does life drawings of Seaton Early, the ex-Celtic player. So there are Picasso drawings out there of an ex-Celt. That's astonishing.
Celtic links.
There's always links.
Yeah.
In terms of the video, sorry, the Young at Heart, beautiful song, absolutely fantastic, so uplifting. The version I watched recently, it actually says official video. I don't know whether that's because
That would be from the record label, because the record label own the video, so they get a wee royalty every time.
I see.
And that will kind of sneaks through. You actually get tiny royalties from, we're one of the only bands that ever paid off their debt. So most bands are indebted. You get an advance. So I think we get 60 grand at the time. Could have got 100 grand, but we're advised to get 60 because 100 is too much. You don't need 100. 60, that'll give you a good wage each week for a year. And then if you fulfill your, if you get an album out that year, you get another advance of 70, and that goes up to 80, etc. And that's how I know about contracts. That's what I taught when I was teaching at college. So we never spent an awful lot of money. We never went to LA to record with Nile Rodgers or anything like that,
But did you have input?
The video was just done, and that was we were.
But did you design it, or did you have input? Because the reason I'm asking, Ken, is because there was a wonderful bit in the cafe where the guy opens the paper and the front page is Scargill arrested.
Oh, that's right. It's the same thing.
It's the same thing. It was 84. During the miners' strike.
We added wee bits too, but there was a guy who wrote that video. He storyboarded it. So they're a wee storyboard, so they've got a wee. In scene one, this will be happening. Claire Grogan will come in, and then Stratford Johns will be your ba, and Molly Weir's your ma, and all that, and blah blah blah. Yeah. So there's a particularly good video director.
I loved that. I thought it was great. But you guys, I mean, I can't let it go by without saying, because that's 84. By 89, we're fighting the Poltaks in Scotland.
Yeah.
And these guys, they don't mess about. They put themselves firmly on the side of the working class. They played the anti-poll tax gig at the Pavilion.
That's right. Well, that would be the McCluskey brothers. That would be post Bluebell's first time around. That would be the
absolutely brilliant. I mean,
with Hipsway, Love and Money, and all.
Hipsway, Love and Money. It just showed you the cultural, Scottish culture was still left on it.
Yeah. Even when we're talking about, remember the SNP, and it was Hugh and Cry and the Proclaimers, wasn't it?
That's right.
They jumped on the SNP bandwagon. The final thing I'm going to ask you, right, because it is a song that's become a staple, Young at Heart, at Scottish weddings, at the New Year,
Funerals.
and there's some really
Honestly, funerals.
iconic performances. Where do you rank the Still Game performance? Because we had a Still Game cast member on the show a few weeks ago, and it's just like, it's become iconic itself.
Well, that was, Gavin, who's Bobby the barman. Gavin Mitchell kind of lives near me. And he kind of said, how would you feel about, Still Game? He told me the premise is a wedding and it's, I was like, that'd be magic. And I kind of forgot about it. And then he phoned me up one day and said, are you up for it? Well, that's it, right? And then I told the rest of the guys, this might happen, because a lot of these things don't happen. But he was as good as his word, and they got us in and we filmed it at the People's Palace. Now, after that, being on Still Game, right, nobody knows who I am, right? I'm incognito. Nobody goes, oh, right, there's that guy for the Bluebells. Nobody, right, I go walk up the street, nobody says anything, right, blah, blah, blah. It's fine. And I like it that way, it's good. After Still Game, all right, mate, can I get your for a win? Because everybody watches Still Game. There's that guy for Still Game. So that happened for a wee while. And then every now and again, you bring it back, it's repeated or whatever, and it comes back again. But people absolutely love Still Game. It's amazing. It's amazing. And yes, I'm very proud to be part of that. And thanks, Gavin. That was brilliant for asking us to get involved. Yeah, it was great. It's great.
Seeing them all dancing to your tune.
Oh, it's magic, yeah.
We're in the heart of the Barras. You're going to be playing the Barrowlands at the beginning of next year in February.
Yes.
And I asked you in the car, why is it taking you so long? But it was just timing, wasn't it?
Well, the Barrowlands wasn't a gig when we were about. So the Bluebells were about 80 to 84, really, 85 maybe. And it wasn't really till the Simple Minds did a video in there, which I think was 85. Maybe late 84, that it started to be seen as an actual venue, and maybe a couple of years later they tidied it up a wee bit, because the Barrowland Ballroom had been mothballed since it was a dance ballroom, basically. So it wasn't really available as a gig when we were about first time out. And then when McCluskey Brothers weren't big enough to do it. But as McCluskey Brothers, we supported a few bands, scored the Big Dish there, so I have played the Barrowlands before. We did a fantastic tribute thing for, as McCluskey Brothers again, for Frankie Miller, who'd had an aneurysm stroke in America, and it was a fundraiser really, because I think the hospital, the hospital debts in America would be pretty high. So that was a great day. That was organised by a man called Alex Downey, God bless him, and they made a fortune. They made a lot of money for. Joe Walsh was there. Guys from the Alex Harvey band, all that. It was brilliant. Claire Grogan, superb. That was a great day. I've played about 5 times, but as a support or as part of a bigger thing, but never the headliner. So we're delighted to play the Barrowlands because it's iconic venue. It's a great vibe. I just even like this area where we are just now. I love this area. I used to work a stall around the corner there, actually sell shell suits, believe it or not. In between record deals, of course. But I've always worked here or worked about here, or and it's a very vibrant area, and I think it's really coming to fruition now with the St Luke's, which is a great venue. We played there last year, brilliant venue. So this is a wee step up, and the tickets are on sale now. It'd be a great Christmas present. You can get your family Christmas tickets for the
podcast.
And yep, we've got that. So the tickets are on sale just now for the Barrowlands, and we've got the You Leaves supporting us, who since I retired as a teacher or lecturer actually at a college where I taught music business management, all about contracts, copyright, all that. At Stowe College, then Glasgow Kelvin College. So I retired last year, and then my missus was like, what do you actually do? Because she's working from
Tell me about it.
She's working from home. And I'm like, yeah, don't know. Hold on, Antiques Roadshow's on or something, you know what I mean? Or Cash in the Attic's on, hold on, right, blah, blah. So I kind of arsed about for a few months. And then I started a wee record label called Corn Creek Records through Last Step for Glasgow Records. And I signed a wee band called the You Leaves, who are from Warren Point in County Down. Fantastic. So they're supporting us. Their album's available, Sketch from Home, available on CD, and all your good Spotify's and all that. They're coming to play with us, and maybe another band earlier on. I've also started a podcast. It's all the going at podcasts. So there's a pub across the road from me. I live in Woodlands, just on Great Western Road. So there's a pub across the road called Macher, or Macheir, Macheir. And I've started a podcast called Mucking at the Macher. And all I do is interview local people that, writers. So I interviewed Tom Shields, writer. He used to be a journalist for the Heralds. He now writes books, tourist books. David Belcher, who's an author, again, ex-journalist. Harry from the Sub Club, DJ in the Sub Club. He's been in the Sub Club for nearly 40 years, every Saturday night. So that was great. That was great reminiscing about Harry. Also, the poet laureate, she's the bard, I think it is, of the Scottish football team, a girl called Julie McNeil.
Right.
So I've got about 6 or 7 different podcasts. I've only started it this year.
Brilliant.
But I started it, just you were introducing me to your daughter earlier on, Tommy, and she was doing a wee bit of work experience here. So my son is doing music technology at Paisley Uni, and the first thing they had to do was make a podcast. So she said, how do you go about it? I said, you need to get good mics first. Very important, good mics. So we didn't have any, we got a couple of good mics, set it up, and he's got the Apple Mac and all that. So he just made one for fun. And then after that, I just kept it going. So it's great.
Excellent. It is great.
It's kind of, I don't do as professionally as you or whatever. It's not such a professional setup, but it's great fun, and it's just chatting to people about local issues.
It's great. What I find is you're always learning when you speak to other people. Kate.
Yeah.
And I've learned loads today from you.
Yeah.
It's been an absolute pleasure. So thank you again for
Thank
joining
you
us
very
on
much.
Celtic State.
No more. Thank you very much.
Pleasure, brother.
Thank you very much.
Thanks again for joining us on A Celtic State of Mind. Join us next Friday, for this is A Celtic State of Mind.